Hey, I've got your most recent quiz here. You asked two really great questions in your email, and then I'll also go over that third problem that you missed. So your first question was, how do you find a rate of change when it's something like 0.5 or a fraction or a decimal? So what I tell students often is first we want to change this to a fraction. So 0.5 is a half. So what that means is that you're looking for the graph that shows a rate of change that's going up 1 and right 2. So every time we go up 1 unit, we need to go over 2 units. Well, this first graph has a negative rate of change, so that's not the answer because this is a positive 0.5 or a positive 1/2. I'm going to have to erase my screen in order to scroll, but remember we're looking for that 1/2, maybe, there we go. We're looking for that positive 1/2. Also, the answer that you selected also goes in the negative direction. And so while it does show up 1 and over 2, it's negative. So that's why this one isn't right. And so then let's put the next two up here. So these are the only two that show positive rates of change because the graph is going uphill from left to right. So if I tell students to kind of mark some points that are on that graph that go through those grid corners in the background on the grid. So this one goes up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. That's 2 over 1. That's 2, a rate of change of 2. This one, if we pick some points out, you can see, and you can start anywhere. We go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and that pattern continues. So this is up 1 and over 2. So this is the correct answer. It shows a rate of change of 1/2. Question 2, you weren't sure how to calculate a rate of change or find a rate of change with numbers in a table, or fractions, I guess, in the table. And so remember the formula. We're doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And so you can pick any 2 points you want. As I look through this table, I notice I have lots of different denominators. Remember, this is your y, this is your x. And you can pick any 2 ordered pairs that you want. This one's going to get kind of ugly because it's going to be a fraction and a fraction, and we're going to have to fix all of that. So let's see, I'm actually going to strategically pick this one and this one because I noticed that the y values both have a denominator of 48, which means I won't have to get a common denominator because they already have one. So that's intentional in my picking. So if I do y2 minus y1, so this is x1, y1, this one is x2, y2. So I'm taking 35 over 48 minus 17 over 48, and that's all over 5 minus 3. So up on top, again, I do have common denominators. And so when you're subtracting fractions, you need a common denominator, and then you just subtract the top number and put it over the bottom. So 35 minus 17 is 18, so I get 18 over 48, and that's all over 2. You're not going to see that answer there. You can't keep a fraction in a fraction. So we're going to look at this as the division. We're dividing fractions here. Remember, I can write 2 over 1. So now it's keep, change, flip, or multiply by the reciprocal. And I'm not really doing any reducing until right now. So when I multiply fractions, I can cross cancel. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 18 9 times. 9 over 48, that's not actually simplified either. These numbers are both divisible by 3. 48 goes into, or 3 goes into 48 16 times. So now I have 3 times 1 on the top and 16 times 1 on the bottom. So I get an answer of 3/16. You can't see it down here, but that was the right answer, 3/16. So you're still using that rate of change formula. You just have fractions, so it's ugly. If you pick something like these first 2 points, you would have to get a common denominator in the numerator first before you could actually even subtract the fractions. Typically, they pick fractions that are maybe even repeating, so it's hard to just try to crunch this out in a calculator. You usually can't get a good answer in the calculator either because some of those fractions are repeating decimals. On the previous question with the graph, you also could have done that formula. So if I go back here again, you could have picked some points, right, on every one of these graphs. If I go down here to just the one that's correct, if I pick this ordered pair or this ordered pair or this ordered pair, let's see, that's 0, -1, and this one is 2, 0. I could have done that same formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That would have given me a 1/2 as an answer. So again, that's how I could have known that was right. So let's look at the last one. The last one asks for rate of change. So if you look at your answer and you look at the right answer, it looks like you have calculated it correctly, but you're just forgetting direction. So this line is a negative rate of change because it's going downhill as we move from left to right. So all functions in this direction have a negative rate of change, and all lines that go in this direction will have a positive rate of change. And that's just something you have to remember. So you calculated it correctly, but just didn't remember or recognize that this is negative because it's going downhill. So good job. You're welcome to retake this on your own. I think you do get 3 attempts and you've only done it once. So hopefully this video helps and that your score improves. Let me know if you need anything else. See ya.